I was packing my personal coffee mug when Tyler Hayes walked into my corner office with that smug grin I had learned to despise over the past 6 months. His designer jacket hung perfectly on his lanky frame as he cleared his throat dramatically. "I'm giving your office to my fiancé," he announced, gesturing toward the blonde woman filming herself in the hallway. "You're fired." I smiled politely, gathered my belongings, and walked out without saying a word. 12 minutes later, as I reached my car in the parking lot, my phone exploded with his panicked screaming. "Why is the main server asking for an iris scan?" he demanded. I whispered my response calmly into the phone, knowing this was just the beginning. Looking back now, I should have seen the warning signs much earlier. My name is Bonnie, and 3 years ago I joined Data Vault Technologies as a junior cybersecurity analyst straight out of graduate school. What started as an entry-level position quickly evolved into something extraordinary when Robert Hayes, the company founder, recognized my talent for designing intricate security systems. Data Vault Technologies occupied a sleek glass building in downtown Denver, specializing in cybersecurity solutions for government contractors and Fortune 500 companies. The company had grown from 12 employees when I started to over 60, and much of that growth stemmed from the revolutionary biometric access system I had architected during my second year. Robert Hayes was everything you would expect from a successful tech entrepreneur. At 58, his silver hair and warm smile made him approachable, yet his sharp business acumen had built Data Vault from a small startup into a $12 million operation. He treated every employee like family, remembering birthdays and asking about our personal lives during his weekly walks through the office. My corner office on the 4th floor had become my sanctuary over the years. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Rocky Mountains, providing natural light that made those 70-hour work weeks more bearable. The space reflected my personality with carefully organized technical manuals, a small succulent garden on the windowsill, and my collection of vintage computer programming books that Robert had gifted me for various achievements. The biometric access system I designed was my masterpiece. Traditional password-based security had become obsolete in our industry, so I developed a multi-layered authentication protocol that included iris scanning, fingerprint verification, and voice recognition. The crown jewel was the main server room, protected by a custom iris scanner that required my personal biometric signature every 24 hours to maintain system integrity. This security measure wasn't arbitrary. Our servers contained classified defense contracts, financial data from major corporations, and proprietary algorithms worth millions of dollars. The iris scanner served as a dead man's switch, ensuring that if anything happened to key personnel, the system would automatically lock down to prevent unauthorized access. My small but dedicated team had become like a second family. Marcus Thompson, our 24-year-old junior developer, possessed an infectious enthusiasm for coding that reminded me of myself when I first started. His desk was perpetually cluttered with energy drink cans and sticky notes covered in algorithm sketches. Elena Rodriguez managed our network infrastructure with military precision. Having served as a communications specialist in the Navy, she brought discipline and attention to detail that kept our systems running flawlessly. Her serious demeanor masked a wicked sense of humor that emerged during our late-night debugging sessions. Dr. Patricia Williams, our Chief Technology Officer, had become my mentor and closest friend at Data Vault. With her doctorate in computer science from MIT and 20 years of industry experience, she guided my professional development while protecting our team from corporate politics. Her office door remained open for anyone seeking advice or simply needing someone to listen. The recent government contracts had elevated Data Vault's profile significantly. We secured deals with the Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, and several intelligence agencies. These contracts required the highest security clearances and subjected us to regular federal audits that validated the strength of our protection systems. Working 70-hour weeks had become my normal routine. While my college friends enjoyed weekend trips and social gatherings, I found fulfillment in solving complex security challenges and building systems that protected sensitive information. My apartment remained sparsely furnished because I spent most of my time at the office, perfecting algorithms and responding to security alerts. Robert frequently praised my dedication publicly during company meetings. He understood that my commitment stemmed from genuine passion rather than obligation, and he rewarded that dedication with increased responsibility and trust. When other companies attempted to recruit me with higher salaries, Robert countered not just with money, but with equity stakes and the promise of leading our expansion into international markets. The first red flag appeared 6 months ago when Tyler Hayes joined the company as business development manager. At 26, Tyler possessed his father's height, but none of his warmth or business instincts. His expensive clothing and flashy car suggested someone more interested in appearances than actual work. Robert had mentioned Tyler's struggles during college and his subsequent years drifting between various startup attempts that never gained traction. Bringing Tyler into DataVault seemed like a father's attempt to provide structure and purpose for his son, but the nepotism made many employees uncomfortable. Tyler's initial projects involved marketing outreach and client relationship management areas where his lack of technical knowledge wouldn't impact our core operations. However, he frequently interrupted engineering meetings with suggestions that demonstrated his fundamental misunderstanding of cybersecurity principles. His office was located down the hall from mine, and I often overheard phone conversations that sounded more like personal business than DataVault matters. Tyler discussed investment opportunities, cryptocurrency trading, and social media strategies with various contacts throughout the day. The most concerning aspect of Tyler's presence was his apparent resentment toward employees who had earned Robert's respect through merit rather than family connections. He made subtle comments about overpaid technical staff and questioned whether certain positions were truly necessary for company operations. Despite these growing concerns, I maintained focus on my responsibilities and trusted that Robert would address any problems with his son privately. My loyalty to Robert and commitment to DataVault's mission overshadowed the uneasiness I felt about Tyler's influence within the company. 3 weeks before the incident that changed everything, Robert announced during our monthly all-hands meeting that he would be taking medical leave for heart surgery. The procedure was scheduled for early Monday morning, and his recovery would require at least 3 months away from the office. The news shocked everyone, as Robert had always seemed invincible despite his demanding schedule. During that announcement, I noticed Tyler's expression shift from concern to something that looked almost like anticipation. While the rest of us worried about Robert's health and the company's future, Tyler seemed to be calculating opportunities that his father's absence might present. Robert's first week of medical leave passed without major incidents. Tyler assumed the role of acting president, and initially his behavior remained professional and appropriate. He attended meetings, punctually asked reasonable questions about ongoing projects, and seemed genuinely committed to maintaining the company's operations during his father's recovery. The shift began during the second week when Tyler started bringing Madison Kelly to the office. At 24, Madison was a lifestyle influencer with 800,000 followers across Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Her content focused on fashion travel and what she called entrepreneur lifestyle tips for young women building their personal brands. Madison's first visit was supposedly to meet Tyler for lunch, but she spent considerable time walking through our offices with her phone taking photos and videos for her social media stories. Her bright smile and bubbly personality initially charmed several employees, though I found her constant documentation of our workspace concerning from a security perspective. Tyler introduced Madison as his fiancée during her third visit, announcing their engagement with obvious pride. The news surprised everyone since Tyler had never mentioned dating anyone seriously, but we congratulated them politely and returned to our work. Madison, however, seemed more interested in exploring our offices than celebrating with her new fiancé. During Madison's tours of the building, she consistently gravitated toward my corner office. She would peek inside when she thought I wasn't looking, taking photos of the mountain view, and commenting loudly about how the natural lighting would be absolutely perfect for content creation. Her interest in the space felt calculated rather than casual. Tyler began scheduling more meetings in my office, claiming he wanted to better understand the technical aspects of our operations. These sessions provided opportunities for Madison to linger in the doorway, examining the layout and taking note of the equipment I used for accessing secure systems. The conversations during these meetings revealed Tyler's fundamental misunderstanding of our security protocols. He questioned why certain systems required multiple authentication steps and suggested streamlining processes to improve efficiency. When I explained that our government contracts mandated specific security measures, he dismissed these concerns as bureaucratic red tape. Madison's questions during these visits were surprisingly technical for someone whose social media content focused on fashion and lifestyle topics. She asked about server locations, backup systems, and access procedures with a curiosity that seemed inappropriate for a social media influencer. When I deflected these inquiries, she laughed them off as just trying to understand Tyler's work better. The situation escalated when Tyler announced during our Wednesday morning staff meeting that he was evaluating office space optimization opportunities to improve workflow and employee satisfaction. This corporate jargon thinly veiled his intention to make physical changes to our carefully organized workspace. That same afternoon, Tyler and Madison spent 2 hours walking through the building with measuring tape and notebooks, documenting room dimensions and furniture layouts. Madison filmed portions of this process for her social media, describing it as helping design the perfect modern workplace for her followers. Their focus remained consistently on my corner office. Madison commented repeatedly about the amazing natural lighting and inspiring mountain views, while Tyler nodded approvingly. The implication became clear when Tyler mentioned that the space might be better utilized for someone who spends more time in meetings with clients and partners. Dr. Patricia Williams cornered me after overhearing one of these conversations. "This doesn't feel right, Bonnie," she said quietly. "I've been in this industry for 20 years, and I've seen power grabs before. Tyler is positioning himself to make changes that benefit him personally rather than the company." Elena expressed similar concerns during our Thursday morning security briefing. "Madison has been asking our junior staff about system passwords and access procedures," she reported. "She claims she's writing a blog post about workplace security, but the questions are too specific for general content. Marcus approached me privately that Friday with disturbing information. Tyler offered me a promotion to senior developer if I could help him understand how to modify user access permissions," he said nervously. "He claimed he wanted to surprise you with expanded system privileges, but something about his tone felt wrong." The weekend passed tensely as I processed these warning signs and debated whether to contact Robert during his recovery. Calling him seemed premature since Tyler hadn't actually done anything overtly harmful, yet the pattern of behavior suggested trouble ahead. Monday morning arrived with an atmosphere of artificial cheerfulness. Tyler and Madison entered the office together, both dressed more formally than usual. Madison carried a large designer handbag and wore a blazer that seemed oddly professional for her typical casual style. The confrontation occurred at 11:30 in the morning. Tyler knocked on my office door with Madison standing behind him, her phone already recording. His nervous energy was palpable as he cleared his throat and straightened his tie. "Bonnie, I need to discuss some organizational changes with you." He began, his voice higher than normal. Madison moved to position herself where she could film the mountain view while appearing to focus on our conversation. "Due to budget constraints and the need to optimize our workspace utilization, we're eliminating your position effective immediately." Tyler continued reading from notes on his phone. "The cybersecurity responsibilities will be distributed among other team members to improve efficiency." The words hit me like a physical blow, but years of professional training kicked in. I remained seated, calmly processing the implications while maintaining eye contact with Tyler. Madison's phone continued recording, capturing what she probably intended to be a dramatic moment for her social media content. "This decision comes from the board of directors and represents a strategic shift toward more collaborative security management," Tyler added, though I knew no board meeting had occurred since Robert's departure. Madison nodded sympathetically, while obviously excited about claiming the office space. My response surprised both of them. Instead of arguing or showing emotion, I simply said, "I understand. I'll gather my personal belongings and complete the standard exit procedures." This professional courtesy seemed to deflate Tyler's prepared arguments and Madison's expression shifted to confusion. The next 20 minutes felt surreal as I methodically collected 3 years' worth of personal items, while Tyler and Madison whispered excitedly about redecorating opportunities and creating the perfect content creation space. My hands remained steady as I packed my coffee mug, succulent plants, and vintage programming books. Following company protocol, I documented all system passwords and access codes in a secure file for my replacement, though I suspected Tyler had no understanding of what these credentials actually controlled. Madison filmed portions of this process, narrating for her followers about big changes coming to Tyler's family business. Dr. Patricia Williams appeared in my doorway as I finished packing, her face reflecting the shock and anger I was suppressing. "This is absolutely unacceptable," she said loud enough for Tyler to hear. "Robert would never approve of this decision." Tyler's response revealed his desperation to justify the firing. "My father left me in charge to make necessary operational improvements," he declared defensively. "These changes will strengthen the company's financial position and improve our competitive advantages." Elena and Marcus gathered near my office as word spread through the building. The expressions on their faces ranged from disbelief to outrage as they processed what was happening. Madison seemed oblivious to the tension continuing to film and comment about the exciting workspace transformation. My final act before leaving was to lock my computer and activate the security protocols I had established years earlier. These measures would protect sensitive data while ensuring that any attempts to access secure systems would be properly logged and monitored. The walk to the elevator felt endless as my colleagues watched in stunned silence. Madison had already begun measuring the office space while Tyler supervised her documentation of furniture and equipment. Neither of them seemed to understand that firing the lead cybersecurity architect might create technical complications. The 12-minute drive to my car in the parking lot provided time to process the betrayal and consider my options. Tyler's decision to fire me for Madison's benefit represented exactly the kind of nepotism and poor judgment that could destroy everything Robert had built over the past decade. As I reached my Honda Civic, my phone rang with Tyler's contact information displayed on the screen. Tyler's voice came through my car speakers with a level of panic I had never heard before. "Bonnie, thank God you answered. We have a serious problem with the main server system. It's asking for some kind of iris scan, and none of us know what that means." I sat in my car key still in the ignition, processing the irony of the situation. 12 minutes after firing me for his social media influencer fiancé, Tyler was begging for my help with the very security systems that justified my position. The desperation in his voice would have been amusing if the situation weren't so professionally insulting. The biometric authentication system requires my iris scan every 24 hours to maintain server access. I explained calmly, watching office windows 4 floors above, where Madison was probably already rearranging furniture. "It's a security feature designed to protect our government contracts and classified data." "Well, can't you just come back and scan your eye real quick?" Tyler asked, his voice cracking slightly. "I mean, we can work something out. Maybe we rushed into the organizational changes too fast." Through my windshield, I could see other employees gathering near the windows, obviously discussing the crisis unfolding inside. Dr. Patricia Williams was gesticulating emphatically, while Marcus and Elena appeared to be explaining technical details to increasingly concerned colleagues. "Tyler, you terminated my employment 11 minutes ago. I no longer have authorization to access company systems or enter secure areas." I replied, maintaining professional courtesy despite the circumstances. "You'll need to contact your new cybersecurity team to resolve this issue." The silence on his end stretched for nearly 30 seconds before he continued with barely controlled frustration. "Look, I'm willing to admit we made a mistake. Come back inside and we can discuss reinstating your position with better terms." I started my car and put it in reverse, creating distance between myself and Data Vault Technologies while considering my response. Tyler's offer felt desperate and insincere, motivated entirely by immediate technical needs rather than genuine recognition of his error. "I appreciate the offer, but I need time to consider my options," I said, pulling onto the main road. "Perhaps you should contact Dr. Williams or Elena to assess your technical capabilities for handling this situation internally." Tyler's voice became increasingly frantic as the implications of his predicament became clearer. Bonnie, please be reasonable. I have clients calling about system outages, and Madison is expecting to start her new office manager position tomorrow. We need your cooperation to maintain business continuity. The mention of Madison's supposed office manager position revealed the true nature of their scheme. Tyler had invented a job title to justify giving his fiancée access to our most secure workspace, probably without understanding the security implications of that decision. After ending the call, I drove home to my apartment while processing the emotional impact of the morning's events. 3 years of dedicated work, countless late nights perfecting security systems, and unwavering loyalty to Robert's vision had been dismissed for Tyler's desire to impress his social media girlfriend. My living room felt strangely unfamiliar as I set down my box of personal belongings and tried to process what had just happened. The sparse furnishing and minimal decoration reflected how much time I had spent at Data Vault rather than building a life outside work. This apartment had been little more than a place to sleep between marathon coding sessions. Within an hour, my phone began ringing with calls from concerned colleagues. Dr. Patricia Williams called first, her voice shaking with anger about Tyler's decision. I've been in corporate America long enough to recognize incompetent leadership when I see it, she said. Robert would be horrified if he knew what Tyler did today. Elena's call came 20 minutes later, with more technical details about the crisis unfolding at Data Vault. The system failures are cascading faster than Tyler anticipated, she reported. Madison is taking selfies in your office while Tyler runs around screaming at people to fix problems he created. Marcus provided the most disturbing information when he called that evening. Tyler has been promising Madison access to areas she has no business seeing, he said nervously. She was asking about server room locations and database passwords before you were even fired. This whole thing feels planned. These conversations confirmed my growing suspicion that Tyler's decision to fire me wasn't impulsive, but rather part of a larger scheme involving Madison's access to sensitive company information. Her technical questions and interest in secure areas suggested motives beyond simple office space acquisition. That night, I spent several hours researching Madison Kelly's social media presence and public information. Her Instagram account featured the typical influencer content of fashion posts, travel photos, and lifestyle advice, but certain patterns emerged that raised red flags. Madison frequently posted from exclusive business events and corporate networking opportunities that seemed inconsistent with her stated background in social media marketing. Her captions often mentioned learning about tech industry innovations and networking with exciting entrepreneurs in contexts that suggested deeper involvement than casual social interactions. More concerning were the men featured in her older social media posts. Over the past 3 years, Madison had been photographed with several different boyfriends, each apparently working in technology or finance. The relationships seemed to follow a pattern of rapid progression, followed by sudden disappearance from her content. A reverse image search revealed that some of Madison's exclusive business event photos had been taken at competitor companies' offices and industry conferences. Her presence at these events suggested either remarkable networking abilities or deliberate targeting of specific business relationships. The most alarming discovery came from a professional networking site where Madison's profile listed her as a business intelligence consultant with experience in competitive analysis and market research. This description contradicted her public persona as a lifestyle influencer and suggested professional capabilities she had never mentioned at Data Vault. At 11:47 that night, Tyler called again with increased desperation. Bonnie, I'm begging you to reconsider. The server is showing 12 hours until complete system lockdown. We could lose everything if you don't help us. Tyler, you made your decision this morning, I replied, sitting in my kitchen with a cup of tea and my laptop open to Madison's social media profiles. You prioritized your personal relationship over business operations. The consequences of that choice are not my responsibility. Madison feels terrible about the misunderstanding, he continued, though background noise suggested she was more focused on her phone than our conversation. She never intended for you to lose your job. This was just supposed to be about optimizing office space utilization. The background audio revealed Madison coaching Tyler on what to say. Tell her you'll give her the job back if she just comes in and scans her eye. I heard her whisper, apparently unaware that the phone was picking up her voice. This moment crystallized my understanding of the situation. Madison hadn't simply influenced Tyler's decision to fire me, she had orchestrated the entire scenario to gain access to our secure systems. Her interest in my office wasn't about natural lighting or mountain views, it was about proximity to the servers and systems I protected. Tyler, I need you to understand something, I said calmly. The iris scanner isn't just a simple security measure. It's connected to multiple federal compliance systems and audit trails. Bypassing it or attempting unauthorized access could result in serious legal consequences. The silence on his end suggested he was finally beginning to grasp the magnitude of his predicament. Tyler had fired the one person who understood the systems keeping his father's company operational and legally compliant with government contracts worth millions of dollars. "What are you saying exactly?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm saying you should contact a lawyer before you make any decisions about those systems," I replied. "And you should probably call your father to explain what's happening." Tyler's sharp intake of breath indicated that calling Robert was the last thing he wanted to do. Explaining to his recovering father that he had created a crisis by firing the company's lead cybersecurity architect would require admitting to catastrophically poor judgment. After hanging up, I sat in my kitchen considering my options while monitoring the situation remotely through systems I had designed to track security breaches and unauthorized access attempts. The iris scanner deadline would expire in approximately 10 hours, at which point Data Vault's servers would enter complete lockdown mode to protect sensitive data. My phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number. The message contained a single line. "We need to talk about Madison Kelly. Meet me tomorrow at 7 a.m. at the Starbucks on 17th Street. Come alone, Janet Morrison." Janet Morrison's name sent a chill through me. As Robert's executive assistant for the past 8 years, Janet possessed intimate knowledge of every business decision and confidential matter at Data Vault Technologies. Her request for a secret meeting suggested she had information that could change everything about my situation. Sleep proved impossible as Tyler's calls continued every hour throughout the night. Each conversation revealed his growing desperation and Madison's increasingly demanding behavior. By 3 a.m, Tyler was offering me double my previous salary, along with immediate reinstatement as chief security officer. "The clients are starting to panic," Tyler admitted during his 4 a.m. call. "Our biggest government contract is threatening to pull out if we can't guarantee system security. Madison thinks you're being unreasonable, but I'm starting to understand how serious this is." Through my apartment window, I could see the Data Vault building's lights blazing as employees worked frantically to address the crisis. The parking lot remained full despite the early morning hour, indicating that multiple departments were struggling with cascading system failures. Dr. Patricia Williams texted me around 5 a.m. with an update that confirmed my worst fears. "Madison spent the evening photographing everything in your office, including your security manuals and access protocols. She claimed she was documenting the transition for training purposes, but Elena caught her trying to copy files from your computer." The Starbucks on 17th Street was nearly empty when I arrived at 7 a.m., finding Janet Morrison already seated in a corner booth with 2 coffee cups and a thick manila folder. At 45, Janet possessed the sharp intelligence and attention to detail that made her indispensable to Robert's operation. "Bonnie, thank you for coming," Janet said quietly, sliding the second coffee toward me. "What I'm about to show you could save Data Vault Technologies, but it might also put us both in danger." Janet opened the folder to reveal surveillance photos, printed emails, and financial documents that painted a disturbing picture of Tyler and Madison's activities over the past month. The evidence suggested a coordinated effort to infiltrate Data Vault's systems rather than the impulsive decision Tyler had presented. "Madison Kelly isn't who she claims to be." Janet began pointing to a professional headshot that looked nothing like the social media influencer I knew. "Her real name is Melissa Chen, and she works for Technova Industries as a corporate intelligence specialist." Technova Industries was DataVault's biggest competitor in the government contracting space. Their aggressive business practices and questionable ethics had made them notorious within our industry, though they maintained plausible legal cover for their activities. I've been tracking suspicious financial transactions from Tyler's personal accounts. Janet continued showing me bank records that revealed regular payments from shell companies connected to Technova. He's been selling client information and internal documents for the past 6 months. The evidence was overwhelming. Tyler had been systematically betraying his father's company while positioning himself to inherit control during Robert's medical leave. Madison's role was to provide physical access to systems that Tyler couldn't reach through his legitimate administrative privileges. The plan was always to fire you and install Madison in your office, Janet explained. Your corner location provides direct access to server room monitoring systems and the physical security controls for our most sensitive areas. Tyler didn't understand the technical implications, but Madison knew exactly what she needed. More surveillance photos showed Madison meeting with Technova executives at restaurants and hotels around Denver. These meetings had occurred during her supposed social visits to DataVault, suggesting she was reporting on our operations and security vulnerabilities in real time. Robert has been suspicious of Tyler's behavior for months, Janet revealed. He asked me to quietly document any unusual activities while he was preparing for surgery. He never imagined the situation was this serious. The financial documents revealed the scope of Tyler's betrayal. Over 6 months, he had received nearly $200,000 from Technova in exchange for client list security protocols and advance notice of government contract bids. This information had allowed Technova to undercut DataVault's proposals and steal several major contracts. Why are you telling me this? I asked, processing the implications of Janet's investigation. Because in 4 hours, Tyler is going to convince the board of directors to permanently terminate your employment and press criminal charges for sabotaging company systems. Janet replied grimly. Madison has been coaching him on how to present you as a disgruntled employee who damaged critical infrastructure out of spite. My phone rang with Tyler's contact information interrupting our conversation. Janet nodded for me to answer while she continued organizing evidence documents. Bonnie, I'm at the end of my rope here, Tyler began without preamble. The board is demanding answers, and Madison thinks we should consider legal action if you don't cooperate. You have 3 hours to get down here and fix this mess. Tyler, I've been thinking about your situation overnight, I said calmly while Janet took notes on our conversation. Have you contacted Robert to discuss the crisis? My father is recovering from major surgery, Tyler snapped defensively. I'm not going to bother him with operational details that I should be able to handle independently. Perhaps Dr. Williams or Elena can help you understand the technical requirements. I suggested, watching Janet's expression grow more concerned. They've been completely unhelpful, Tyler complained. Elena claims she doesn't have access to override the iris scanner, and Dr. Williams keeps talking about federal compliance issues. Madison thinks they're deliberately sabotaging our efforts to resolve this situation. The background noise revealed Madison's voice becoming increasingly agitated about the delay in accessing her office and beginning her new responsibilities. She apparently expected to start working immediately, despite the complete system lockdown. Tyler, I need to ask you something important, I said while Janet prepared a recording device. Has Madison been in contact with anyone outside DataVault about our security systems or client information? The pause lasted nearly 15 seconds before Tyler responded with obvious discomfort. Madison has been networking with other technology companies as part of building her personal brand. She might have mentioned working with DataVault, but nothing confidential. Janet's eyebrows rose as she made additional notes about Tyler's evasive answer. His admission that Madison had been discussing DataVault with other companies confirmed the intelligence operation Janet had documented. What specific companies has she been networking with? I pressed, watching Janet's expression grow more alarmed. Look, that's not relevant to fixing the server problem, Tyler said, his voice rising with stress. Madison's professional activities are separate from DataVault business. We need to focus on getting you back here to resolve the technical crisis. After ending the call, Janet showed me the final piece of evidence that confirmed our worst fears. Madison had posted an Instagram story the previous evening from my former office showing herself surrounded by technical manuals and computer screens. The caption read, "Learning so much about cybersecurity tonight, can't wait to share what I'm discovering with my tech industry friends." She posted classified documents on social media, I said, staring at the screenshot Janet had captured before Madison deleted the story. "It gets worse," Janet replied, pulling out her phone to show me Madison's current Instagram activity. "She's been live streaming from your office since 6 this morning, answering questions from viewers about Data Vault's security systems." The live stream showed Madison sitting in my former chair, casually discussing our server configurations and client information with her social media followers. Several viewers were asking technical questions that Madison answered with suspicious accuracy for someone supposedly new to the cybersecurity industry. "We need to contact the FBI immediately," I said, recognizing the severity of the security breach. "I already did," Janet replied quietly. "Agent Sarah Mitchell from the Denver field office is expecting your call this morning. She's been investigating Technova for industrial espionage, and your situation might provide the evidence they need for arrests." My phone buzzed with another text from Tyler. "Board meeting in 2 hours. Last chance to resolve this professionally before we pursue other options." Janet gathered the evidence documents and placed them back in the manila folder. "Bonnie, there's one more thing you need to know. Robert isn't as incapacitated as Tyler thinks. He's been monitoring the situation from his hospital room and coordinating with federal investigators." The revelation that Robert was actively involved changed everything. Tyler's assumption that his father was too sick to pay attention had allowed Robert to observe his son's betrayal while building a legal case against Technova and their infiltration operation. "What do you need me to do?" I asked, understanding that my role in this situation was far from over. Agent Sarah Mitchell's office at the FBI's Denver field office buzzed with activity when Janet and I arrived at 9:30 that morning. Surveillance photos covered whiteboards connecting Technova Industries to various corporate espionage cases across multiple states. Our situation was apparently part of a much larger federal investigation. "Ms. Bonnie, thank you for coming in," Agent Mitchell said, gesturing toward a conference table covered with evidence files. At 38, she possessed the focused intensity of someone who had spent years building complex criminal cases. "We've been tracking Technova's activities for 18 months, and your situation provides the missing pieces we need." The scope of Technova's operation astounded me. They had infiltrated over 20 technology companies using various methods ranging from traditional hacking to the social engineering approach Madison had employed at Data Vault. The financial damage to victim companies exceeded $50 million in stolen contracts and intellectual property. Madison Kelly, whose real name is Melissa Chen, is one of their most effective operatives, Agent Mitchell explained, showing me surveillance photos from previous infiltrations. "She typically targets companies with male executives who have access to sensitive information. The pattern is remarkably consistent." Dr. Patricia Williams had provided the FBI with detailed technical information about Madison's attempts to access our systems. Screenshots from security cameras showed Madison photographing classified documents, copying files to external drives, and even attempting to disable certain monitoring systems. "The live stream from your office this morning provided federal prosecutors with direct evidence of espionage activities." Agent Mitchell continued. "Madison discussed classified government contracts and security protocols with viewers who were recording everything for Technova's analysis. Tyler's financial records revealed the depth of his cooperation with Technova's operation. Beyond the $200,000 in direct payments, Tyler had also received cryptocurrency transfers, stock options, and promises of executive positions at Technova once Data Vault was destroyed or acquired. Your iris scanner security system actually helped us build this case, Agent Mitchell explained with appreciation. The authentication logs show exactly when and how Tyler and Madison attempted to access restricted areas. Their failures created a digital trail that documents their criminal intent. Janet's evidence proved invaluable to federal investigators who had been struggling to penetrate Technova's careful legal protections. The company typically maintained plausible deniability by using intermediaries and avoiding direct communication with operatives like Madison. "We need your cooperation to complete this investigation," Agent Mitchell said seriously. "Tyler and Madison believe they're close to succeeding, but we want to catch them in the act of stealing classified information that could compromise national security. The plan required me to temporarily restore system access while federal agents monitored everything Tyler and Madison attempted to download. Hidden cameras and recording devices would document their activities while providing legal evidence for prosecution. This operation carries some personal risk," Agent Mitchell warned. "Tyler is becoming increasingly desperate, and Madison has a history of violence when cornered. We'll have agents nearby, but you'll be exposed during the initial phases." My phone rang with Tyler's contact information as we discussed the federal operation. Agent Mitchell nodded for me to answer, while technicians prepared recording equipment. "Bonnie, the board meeting starts in 30 minutes, Tyler said without preamble. "If you're not here to resolve this situation, we're authorizing legal action against you for criminal sabotage and breach of contract." "Tyler, I'm willing to discuss terms for resolving this situation," I said while FBI agents monitored the call. "However, I need certain guarantees about my employment status and legal protection before I can provide any technical assistance." "What kind of guarantees?" Tyler asked, his voice betraying both hope and suspicion. "I want my position restored with a written apology from the board, plus assurance that Madison's access to sensitive areas will be properly supervised," I replied, following the script Agent Mitchell had prepared. Tyler's pause suggested he was consulting with Madison about my demands. Background noise revealed her arguing about unreasonable conditions and insisting that they should just hire someone else to fix the stupid computer. "Madison thinks you're being vindictive," Tyler said finally. "But I'm authorized to offer full reinstatement with a promotion to Chief Security Officer if you come in immediately. I'll need those terms in writing before I can provide any assistance," I insisted while Agent Mitchell took notes about Tyler's desperation. "Fine, whatever it takes," Tyler agreed quickly. "Just get down here before the servers completely shut down." After ending the call, Agent Mitchell outlined the timeline for the federal operation. FBI agents would position themselves throughout Data Vault's building while I restored temporary access to systems. Hidden surveillance equipment would record Tyler and Madison's attempts to steal classified information. "Robert Hayes has been cooperating with our investigation from his hospital room," Agent Mitchell revealed. "He's been feeding Tyler information designed to expose the full extent of Technova's infiltration. The board meeting is actually a setup to catch Tyler making false statements about company operations." The drive back to Data Vault Technologies felt surreal as I processed my transformation from fired employee to federal witness in less than 24 hours. FBI agents in unmarked vehicles followed at discreet distances while maintaining radio contact with Agent Mitchell. The building's parking lot was crowded with client vehicles and news vans, as word of Data Vault's crisis had leaked to local media. Tyler's mismanagement of the situation had created a public relations disaster that threatened the company's reputation even beyond the security breaches. Dr. Patricia Williams met me in the lobby with obvious relief. "Bonnie, I'm so glad you're back," she said loudly enough for nearby employees to hear. "Tyler has been frantic all morning trying to contact you." Elena and Marcus gathered around as we walked toward the elevators, their faces showing the strain of working all night to contain system failures. Both had dark circles under their eyes and the exhausted expressions of people pushed beyond their technical capabilities. "Madison has been live streaming from your office again," Marcus whispered as we entered the elevator. "She's been answering technical questions from viewers and showing them classified documents." Elena tried to stop her, but Tyler said she had authorization. The fourth floor buzzed with activity as employees scrambled to address cascading system failures. Madison's voice carried from my former office as she conducted what sounded like an impromptu technical consultation for her social media audience. Tyler emerged from the conference room looking haggard and desperate. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his hair disheveled, and his eyes showed the strain of managing a crisis far beyond his capabilities. "Bonnie, thank God you're here," he said with obvious relief. The board is getting impatient and we need to restore access immediately. Madison has been trying to help, but she needs your expertise to complete the security protocols. Through the conference room windows, I could see several board members participating via video conference, their expressions ranging from concern to anger. Robert's face appeared on one screen, looking surprisingly alert for someone supposedly recovering from major surgery. Let me assess the current situation before we proceed, I said professionally while FBI agents took positions throughout the building. I need to verify system integrity and confirm that no unauthorized access attempts have compromised our security protocols. Tyler's nervous energy was palpable as he led me toward my former office where Madison was still filming herself with classified documents spread across the desk. Her audience of several thousand viewers was actively engaging with technical questions that revealed far more about Data Vault's operations than any social media content should contain. Madison Bonney is here to help with the technical issues, Tyler announced as we entered the office. Madison looked up from her phone with an expression that shifted rapidly from annoyance to calculation. Oh, perfect timing, she said with fake enthusiasm. I was just explaining to my followers how modern cybersecurity systems work. Maybe you can answer some of their more technical questions. The moment had arrived for the FBI operation to begin. Madison's live stream audience had grown to over 15,000 viewers, many asking increasingly sophisticated technical questions that revealed their professional interest in Data Vault's security systems. The comments section scrolled with inquiries about server specifications, encryption protocols, and client data storage that no casual social media audience would understand. Actually, I think we should focus on resolving the technical crisis before continuing the educational content, I said diplomatically while scanning the room for the hidden surveillance equipment FBI agents had installed. Tyler's relief was obvious as I approached the iris scanner terminal. Madison has been documenting everything for transparency, he explained nervously. She wants to show her followers how modern businesses handle security challenges. The iris scanner activated with a soft blue light as I leaned forward for authentication. Years of muscle memory guided me through the biometric verification process, while FBI recording equipment captured every detail of Tyler and Madison's reactions. Access restored, the system announced in its automated voice. Welcome back, Bonnie. All systems are now operational. Madison's phone captured my successful authentication while she provided running commentary for her audience. See how easy that was. Just one person's eye scan and boom, access to everything. Makes you wonder about the security of your personal data, right? Tyler immediately produced a tablet showing our server status dashboard. Okay, great. Everything is coming back online. Madison, maybe you should wrap up the live stream so we can focus on business operations. Actually, my followers are really engaged with this content, Madison replied, continuing to film despite Tyler's obvious discomfort. They're asking amazing questions about how companies protect sensitive information. This could be a great educational series. Dr. Patricia Williams appeared in the doorway, with Elena and Marcus close behind. All three looked concerned about Madison's ongoing social media broadcast from our most secure office location. Tyler, we need to discuss some urgent client issues, Dr. Williams said pointedly. Perhaps this isn't the best time for social media content creation. Madison's response revealed her true priorities. These are important conversations about digital privacy and corporate transparency, she declared defensively. The public has a right to understand how their data is being protected. Through my peripheral vision, I noticed Elena discreetly pointing towards specific documents on the desk that Madison had been displaying on camera. Several contained classified markings and government contract details that should never be visible to unauthorized personnel. Madison, those documents contain sensitive client information, I said calmly while FBI agents positioned themselves near the office entrance. Perhaps we should secure them before continuing any filming. Oh, don't worry, Madison replied dismissively. I've been very careful not to show anything actually confidential. Just general information about how cybersecurity works. Marcus stepped forward with his phone showing Madison's live stream from the past hour. You've been displaying classified Defense Department contracts and client password lists, he said quietly. Everything has been recorded and archived by your viewers. The color drained from Tyler's face as he realized the magnitude of the security breach Madison had created. His carefully constructed plan to gain legitimate access to sensitive systems had become a public exposure of classified information to thousands of unknown viewers. "Turn off the live stream immediately," Tyler ordered, his voice cracking with stress. "Madison, end the broadcast right now." Madison's defiant response confirmed what FBI investigators had suspected about her true role. "I don't take orders from you, Tyler. This content is valuable, and my audience deserves to see inside corporate America's security theater." Agent Sarah Mitchell's voice came through my hidden earpiece. "We have enough evidence for arrests. Keep them talking for 2 more minutes while teams move into position." "Madison, I'm curious about your background in cybersecurity," I said conversationally while Tyler paced nervously behind her. "You seem to know quite a lot about enterprise security systems, for someone whose social media focuses on lifestyle content." Madison's confident smile faltered slightly as she processed the implications of my question. "I'm just naturally curious about technology. Plus, dating Tyler has taught me so much about the industry." "What specifically has Tyler taught you about government contracts and classified data handling?" I continued, watching Tyler's expression grow increasingly panicked. "Look, I think we're getting off track here," Tyler interrupted desperately. "We need to focus on restoring normal business operations and addressing client concerns about system downtime." Elena stepped forward with a security tablet showing network activity logs. "Tyler, someone has been downloading terabytes of classified data over the past 6 hours. The downloads are being traced to external servers registered to Technova Industries." The room fell silent as Tyler processed Elena's revelation. His face shifted through confusion, realization, and finally panic as he understood that his partnership with Madison had been exposed. "That's impossible," Tyler stammered. "Madison wouldn't have access to download anything. She's just been taking photos and videos for her social media content." Madison's live stream audience had grown to over 20,000 viewers as word spread about the unfolding corporate drama. Comments poured in from accounts with technical usernames asking specific questions about DataVault's client data and security vulnerabilities. "Actually, Tyler, Madison has been using your administrative credentials to access restricted databases," Marcus revealed, showing logs from the security monitoring system. "The download started immediately after Bonnie's authentication restored system access." Dr. Patricia Williams moved to block Madison's view of the office door as FBI agents began ascending to the 4th floor. "Madison, perhaps you should consider ending your broadcast and speaking with us privately about these allegations." Madison's demeanor shifted completely as she realized the trap closing around her. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said defensively while continuing to film. "I'm a social media influencer documenting interesting workplace dynamics. There's nothing illegal about that." Tyler's phone rang with an unknown number, and his expression grew even more panicked as he answered. "Tyler Hayes," he said nervously, his voice audible to Madison's still recording phone. "This is Agent Sarah Mitchell with the Federal Bureau of Investigation," came the voice loud enough for everyone in the room to hear. "We need to speak with you and Madison Kelly immediately regarding violations of federal espionage statutes." Madison's phone clattered to the desk as the live stream continued broadcasting her shocked reaction to 20,000 viewers. Tyler's legs seemed to give out as he sank into the nearest chair, his face pale with realization. "You're both under arrest for conspiracy to commit espionage and theft of classified government information," Agent Mitchell announced as FBI agents entered the office with weapons drawn. The live stream captured Madison's arrest in real time as she screamed about her rights and demanded to call her lawyer. Tyler remained silent, staring at his hands while federal agents read him his Miranda rights. As handcuffs clicked around Madison's wrists, she looked directly at me with pure hatred. "This was supposed to be simple," she hissed. "Tyler promised you were just a glorified IT support person who would be easy to replace." Tyler's betrayal was complete, but the FBI operation had succeeded in exposing Technova's corporate espionage network and protecting DataVault's classified information from further compromise. The federal courthouse in downtown Denver buzzed with activity 3 months later as Tyler Hayes and Melissa Chen, the woman who had posed as Madison Kelly, faced sentencing for their roles in Technova Industries' corporate espionage operation. News vans lined the street as reporters covered what had become one of the largest industrial espionage cases in Colorado history. Robert Hayes had made a remarkable recovery from his heart surgery and sat in the front row of the courtroom gallery, his expression a mixture of sadness and determination. Watching his son face federal charges for betraying the family business had taken a visible toll, but Robert's commitment to justice remained unwavering. Agent Sarah Mitchell testified about the scope of Technova's criminal enterprise, which ultimately involved 43 companies across 12 states and resulted in over $80 million in stolen intellectual property. Melissa Chen's social media operation had been just one component of a sophisticated network designed to infiltrate and destroy competing businesses. Tyler received 15 years in federal prison for his role in selling classified government contracts and facilitating unauthorized access to sensitive defense information. His trust fund and personal assets were frozen to provide restitution for DataVault's clients and cover the costs of rebuilding compromised security systems. Melissa Chen faced 20 years for her coordination of the espionage operation, which included previous infiltrations at 6 other technology companies. Her carefully constructed social media persona had been completely fabricated, supported by Technova's resources, and designed specifically to target male executives with access to valuable information. The Technova executives who orchestrated the operation received sentences ranging from 12 to 25 years, effectively dismantling the criminal enterprise that had terrorized the technology industry for over 3 years. Federal prosecutors seized company assets worth over $100 million to compensate victim companies. Dr. Patricia Williams was promoted to Chief Executive Officer of DataVault Technologies, bringing stability and technical expertise to the leadership position. Her first executive decision was restructuring the company's security protocols to prevent future insider threats while maintaining the innovation that had made DataVault successful. My role evolved into Chief Security Officer with equity stakes that reflected my contribution to protecting the company's most valuable assets. Robert insisted on making me a partner rather than just an employee, ensuring that my loyalty and expertise would guide DataVault's future growth. The corner office became a collaborative workspace for my expanded cybersecurity team, which grew from 3 people to 12 as we implemented new protection systems for our government contracts. The mountain view remained spectacular, but the space now fostered innovation rather than isolation. Elena Rodriguez was promoted to Director of Network Operations, overseeing infrastructure improvements that strengthened our defense against future infiltration attempts. Her military experience proved invaluable in creating protocols that balanced security with operational efficiency. Marcus Thompson thrived as senior developer, leading projects to integrate artificial intelligence into our threat detection systems. His enthusiasm for coding evolved into leadership skills as he mentored new team members and contributed to our research initiatives. Janet Morrison became Chief Operating Officer, bringing organizational skills and institutional knowledge that proved essential during our post-crisis recovery. Her investigation of Tyler and Melissa had prevented far greater damage and established her as one of Robert's most trusted advisors. The government contracts not only continued, but expanded significantly as federal agencies recognized DataVault's commitment to protecting classified information. Our total contract value grew to over $30 million annually, establishing us as a leader in cybersecurity for defense applications. 6 months after the arrests, I received a congressional commendation for my role in exposing the espionage operation and protecting national security information. The ceremony in Washington provided an opportunity to meet other cybersecurity professionals who had faced similar challenges with corporate infiltration. The DataVault building underwent extensive security upgrades, including new biometric systems that required multiple authentication factors and eliminated single points of failure. My original iris scanner design became the foundation for industry-standard protocols adopted by companies nationwide. Madison's former social media accounts became evidence in federal court, with her live stream of classified documents serving as key prosecution exhibits. The 20,000 viewers who witnessed her arrest included federal investigators from multiple agencies who used the broadcast to identify other potential security breaches. Robert's health continued improving, and he resumed active involvement in Data Vault's operations while delegating day-to-day management to our expanded leadership team. His experience with Tyler's betrayal led to important conversations about succession planning and corporate governance that strengthened our foundation. The cybersecurity industry embraced our story as a case study in defending against social engineering attacks and insider threats. I began speaking at conferences across the country, sharing lessons learned and helping other companies protect themselves from similar infiltration attempts. Dr. Williams and I co-authored a research paper on biometric security systems that was published in the Journal of Cybersecurity and became required reading in graduate programs nationwide. Our collaboration demonstrated how technical innovation and practical experience could advance the entire field. 1 year after Tyler's arrest, Data Vault Technologies won the National Cybersecurity Excellence Award for our contributions to protecting government information systems. The ceremony featured presentations from FBI Director and Department of Homeland Security officials who praised our cooperation with federal investigations. My personal life found better balance as success at work allowed me to invest in relationships and interests outside cybersecurity. The sparse apartment was replaced with a home that reflected my personality and provided space for the hobbies I had neglected during those 70-hour work weeks. The experience taught me that betrayal, while painful, often reveals character and strength that we didn't know we possessed. Tyler's decision to fire me for his girlfriend's benefit ultimately exposed his criminal activities and saved Data Vault from far greater damage that would have occurred if his scheme had succeeded. Robert often reflected that Tyler's betrayal devastating, as it was personally forced necessary changes that made Data Vault stronger and more secure than ever before. Sometimes the most difficult challenges create opportunities for growth and improvement that wouldn't have been possible otherwise. The morning I was fired felt like the end of my career, but it was actually the beginning of something far more meaningful. Fighting back against injustice and protecting what we had built together created bonds with my colleagues that went beyond professional relationships to genuine friendship and mutual respect. Today, Data Vault Technologies stands as proof that integrity and expertise ultimately triumph over deception and manipulation. The company Robert built survives and thrives because good people stood together against those who tried to destroy it for personal gain. What workplace betrayal have you experienced that forced you to discover your own strength and resilience? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more real-life experiences about overcoming professional challenges. Share this with anyone who might need encouragement to stand up for what's right, even when the odds seem overwhelming. Remember, justice might take time, but it's worth fighting for, and you're stronger than you realize. Thank you for listening to my story, and I hope it reminds you that even the most challenging betrayals can lead to unexpected opportunities and personal growth.